Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now July 1st of 2021, and one major aspect that a lot of fans are really looking forward to when it comes to the future of the Star Wars universe is exactly what George, John, and Dave all have in store for this new Star Wars universe moving ahead. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Also, make sure to check me out at Mike01 on Twitter if you would like to. Now, one thing that a lot of fans have been very skeptical about is, of course, whether or not Katheryn Kennedy is going to ruin the Star Wars franchise further with the Acolyte TV series. I've stated this many times before in the past that I'm really not all too worried about this for several different reasons, and I've stated that before in the past. The Acolyte TV series, to me, is insignificant. It's not going to be a make or break situation regardless of what happens with that show, because we've got so much coming between George, John, and Dave for the new Star Wars TV shows and movies that are set to be announced by this November to December, as well as more to come that will be announced at Star Wars Celebration of 2022, so that's also another thing to really look forward to. So here's one thing that I think a lot of fans have been very curious about, is exactly what's been going on behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm when it comes to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni really throwing in all of their work into the Star Wars universe, right? We obviously know that the Ahsoka Tano series is moving along smoothly. There's other TV shows out there that are being worked on, such as Star Wars Andor, as well as Star Wars Kenobi in the mix. So there's a lot of work that is being done as we speak right now that's really progressing month by month, right? However, what's really intriguing all has to do with what Disney CEO Bob Chapek recently decided to do with, of course, the future of the franchise and what it means for creator George Lucas. Now, this is where things begin to really get exciting. So now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are beginning to wrap production on the book of Boba Fett as well as Star Wars Andor, they are still highly focused on the Kenobi TV series for Disney Plus that will take the franchise in a new direction. However, it's described that Katheryn Kennedy is set to have a major plan to reset many aspects of the Acolyte TV series. However, it's noted that currently one major plan is beginning to be put into place for the year of 2022 by Disney CEO Bob Chapek, that this major plan is for creator George Lucas to become the president of Lucasfilm during the second quarter of 2022 in a very unique way for the fans to witness. It's described that currently Bob Chapek is indeed developing this plan for Lucas to take act as president of Lucasfilm by early next year to call the shots on the direction of the Star Wars franchise, as Katheryn Kennedy is beginning to plan her exit from Lucasfilm by starting her own production company dubbed simply as Starlight Productions. Further, it's noted that this plan by Chapek is a way to regain the lost fans that walked away from the Star Wars franchise since the sequel trilogy ended back in 2019, and also in response to the Gina Carano firing from The Mandalorian Season 3. Further, it's noted that this major shift for the Star Wars fandom is going to be announced by January, that Lucas will begin to act as president of Lucasfilm temporarily before Bob Chapek decides to fill in the permanent solution for the new president to take Star Wars in a beautiful direction for the fandom to enjoy. Now, one thing that I think a lot of fans miss is the fact that we also have a lot that's being done by Jon Favreau for the books, the novels, the comics, and the video games. Let's not forget about this. This is something that a lot of fans don't realize, is that recently through, of course, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's new promotions over at Lucasfilm, they are able to call the shots on pretty much all of the Star Wars lore. We're talking about, like I say, books, novels, video games, and more. Everything that's separate from the movies and the TV shows, to really kind of make it all come together as one, to really make it fine-tuned by John and Dave, and as well as Lucas. Now, I want to touch on this major plan by Bob Chapek to make George Lucas the president of Lucasfilm as, in a temporary sense, for, of course, the beginning of 2022. We talked about how Katheryn Kennedy is already planning her new production company dubbed simply as Starlight Productions, in which she plans to transfer a lot of Lucasfilm employees over to that production company by mid-2022. A lot of things are being done right now as we speak, so we're going to be learning more about Kathleen Kennedy's plans by the end of this summer into the early fall. Things are going to begin to heat up, where fans are actually going to be able to get a better idea of what Kathleen Kennedy has planned for her future. Now, the thing about Bob Chapek doing this for George Lucas, this is one thing that I'm not quite so sure about, is that I think what the fans would really love to see is for George to actually be the permanent Lucasfilm president, to actually call the shots for Star Wars till pretty much when he decides to exit. However, that's not going to be the case. This is a temporary scenario in which George will act as the president of the company, as well as while Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO, is going to be figuring out the permanent solution for that. It's almost as if similar to when Bob Iger and Bob Chapek were both acting as the Disney CEOs. You know, we kind of had that little, format about a year ago that ended later this year. So I think it's a very interesting development, the fact that George is going to be acting as president of Lucasfilm by 2022 in Q2 to call the shots. This is going to be announced by January of next year, so mark your calendars for January of 2022. Someday within that month, we're going to be learning a lot more about this major decision by Disney. Now, the thing that Kathleen Kennedy has failed to do is, of course, kind of admit that Star Wars Legends does exist. I mean, she has said this time and time again that Star Wars Legends is something that we don't really pay all that much attention to, and that when it comes to the Disney canon for Star Wars, there's really not all that much to draw from when it comes to source material. And she was obviously trying to deflect fans away from realizing that Legends is superior than a lot of the stories that Disney has created for the past number of years when it comes to, of course, books, comics, movies, and TV shows. So this, to me, I think is a very interesting decision on Bob Chapek's part. I really got to give Chapek some credit. Some of you guys out there don't like Chapek, that's fine. But this, to me, I think is a very, very good movement on Chapek's part. It's a very good decision in his point of view, obviously, to make such a great call, to make the fans happy. We're going to be learning more about this in the next couple of months, about George Lucas being placed in as the new Lucasfilm president, while Kathleen Kennedy gets her things sorted out for her new production company, Starlight. Like I say, that's going to be a production company that is going to be developing movies and TV shows with a number of Lucasfilm employees, be it writers, visual artists, concept artists, editors, whatever it may be, transferring over with Kathleen Kennedy. So let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.